Dumelang, welcome to Face the Nation. My name is Mashatile. Great to have you with us here on SABC News. On the show tonight, did Deputy President Paul Mashatile survive an assassination attempt? Why does his office believe it was an assassination attempt and not a possible hijacking? The Deputy President's office confirmed that a vehicle he was traveling in a few weeks ago was struck by bullets. But some in the ANC believe this is not true. And the SAPS seems to also be playing far from the story, refusing to confirm that it's investigating the shooting. We'll speak to the Deputy President's office tonight. Also on the show, is it possible for the Northern Cape Premier to review the existence of Orania? That's the EFF's demand as they marched to the Premier's office today. We'll speak to both the EFF and a representative from Orania. We'll also bring in the Northern Cape Premier Zamani Saul to respond. But first, my comment. So there is a story involving the Deputy President, Paul Mashatile, which is getting all sorts of interesting reactions. The Deputy President's office seems to suggest that Mashatile has survived an assassination attempt because on his way from an NEC meeting on the 30th of March, the vehicle he was traveling in was sprayed with bullets. But he says at the time, his security team, including himself, didn't know that it was bullets that were hitting the car. They apparently only realized this when they only got home and when they took the car to be checked out. Listen to how the Deputy President has told the story over the weekend.
You must have heard that the police are investigating. What really happened is that as I was driving from the NEC, my car was hit what initially I thought it was stones. And when we got home, the protectors said no, the impact is too much. They want to take it for checking because, you know, a bulletproof windscreen is quite strong to be damaged. And that's why they are doing the investigation.
So that's what the Deputy President said over the weekend. I mean, obviously, this is a huge security risk for the Deputy President. If it truly happened, then it should be taken seriously. But there are a few things that are also not making sense about the story. And I must say beforehand that I honestly do not believe that the Deputy President or his team would lie about an incident like this or even stage an incident like this. I mean, I refuse to believe that. I think that would be a new low, and I don't see how that would actually benefit the Deputy President. But there are questions we need to ask ourselves, and I don't understand why a serious incident like this that happened on the 30th of March is only being revealed to the public over 2 weeks later, especially because the Deputy President's team seems to be convinced that someone did fire shots at his convoy. That's one. Two, I'm struggling to understand how the security team of the Deputy President was unable to know at the time of the incident that it was bullets that were being fired and not rocks. And maybe that's because we don't know how the VIP protection cars and how strong they are to the extent that when someone fires shots at the car, that could be mistaken for rocks. I mean, I would imagine the security team would know whether someone is firing rocks or is firing shots. I mean, if not the ones in the car driving the Deputy President, then the others that are going ahead or behind, because it's an entire motorcade. Now, three, why are the police refusing to confirm if this incident happened, given that the VIP protectors are part of the SAPS? So we've invited the police for an interview, and they said no. And because they couldn't come on air, I asked, can you confirm that the incident happened? And they refused to confirm that. And they are referring us to the Deputy President's office, which is weird because normally the police can just confirm. Even when they don't want to do an interview, they can just confirm that something happened and we're investigating. They don't have to give you the details. This time, they don't even want to confirm that there's an investigation underway. They refused to even confirm if it was bullets on the deputy president's car. Of all these questions, I asked the spokesperson of the SAPS, and she simply said, talk to the DP's office. Even when I explained that this is a policing matter, so that is suspicious. The only thing she was saying was that the SAPS does not discuss or comment on safety and security aspects concerning the president, the deputy presidents, including our cabinet members in the public domain. Now, the other question to ask is, why is this being described as an assassination attempt? Why not an attempted hijacking? Why are they so sure that it was an assassination attempt? What information do they have that we don't know about? Because again, my biggest worry here is that if indeed it was an assassination attempt, that's supposed to worry all of us. I mean, if the deputy president of this country, the second in command, was nearly assassinated, that's a serious issue. How is it that even some of the deputy president's comrades in the ANC don't seem to believe him? I mean, listen to this. Listen to what the Treasurer General of the ANC, Gwen Ramokgopa, said when he was asked about this incident earlier today.
Usually when there are these reports and all that, many of them are fake, actually. And we have seen a lot of fake things, so we have referred these matters for the Secretariat to deal with organizationally. And indeed, in due course, we will respond to that. I think it's only fair to do that because these are serious allegations, and we need to check their veracity and also look at what can be done. But obviously, once it gets to that, it's not the responsibility of the movement, it's the responsibility of the relevant agencies of the state.
That's the Treasurer. That's the Treasurer General of the ANC. What do you think of that response? I mean, and it's not just her. Listen to what the Northern Cape ANC chair, Zamani Saul, said earlier today when he was addressing ANC members during the provincial conference there in the Northern Cape.
Now there's an issue that the car of the deputy president was shot at. Every South African is jumping to a conclusion. It's 2027, comrades. 2020. And we come to accept it as well. That is 2027. Because of the levels of divisions within our ranks. Who can, in his right mind, go out and want to kill a deputy president of the ANC for a 40% party? 40% party. Deputy president were not killed when we were having 70% here. And we come to believe those things, that it's because of this. Because of the levels of division within our ranks.
Now, the EFF has released its statement on this, wishing the Deputy President safety and strength, adding that, and I quote, "We stand firm in our commitment to safeguarding the democratic institutions of our country," end quote. They also criticized the President and the state security agencies for their silence on this matter. That's what the EFF has said. Well, the SACP also released a statement on this, and they said they condemn what they described as an attack on the deputy president. The statement said, and I quote, "The SACP stands in solidarity with the deputy president and reaffirms the commitment to safeguarding the democratic gains of our nation," end quote. So what is actually going on here? Is this about ANC succession battles? Because the matter has now been clearly politicized. There are some in the ANC who think the deputy president is trying to position himself as a victim. It's all about the succession in the ANC. I really doubt, as I said earlier, that the deputy president's team would stage something like that for nefarious reasons. But then again, you really never know with this country. The question we're asking you tonight is, what do you think is really at play here with all the information that you have? I mean, you've got some ANC leaders now that have poured cold water on the reports of an assassination attempt against the deputy president. What do you think is behind this skepticism? The EFF and the SACP at least seem to be in solidarity with the Deputy President, wishing him well and calling for law enforcement agencies to investigate. Please share your thoughts with us of what you think of this entire debacle. You can send us a WhatsApp on 078-459-1897. Remember to tell us your name and surname and where you're sending the voice note from. And please keep it at 30 seconds. Alternatively, you can send us an X on @FaceTheNation SABC. After the break, we'll speak to Keith Khoza, who is with the Deputy President's office. Stay with us here on Face the Nation. Welcome back. Now, we have been trying to get a hold of the presidency's spokesperson, Keith Khoza, who is just cutting the call and not responding to us. He had confirmed to come and speak to us about the Deputy President's incident and what's transpired. We wanted to hear from the Deputy President's office, but he has simply been cutting our calls, even after we had confirmed with him before we started the show that he will be coming through. So he is not responding to us. So as soon as he does, we'll bring him on air. We're going to move to this now. In the meantime, the EFF in the Northern Cape says it will consider, among others, court action if there is no response to their memorandum of demands. The party handed a memorandum calling for the abolishment of Orania, calling it a state within a state. Orania, the self-proclaimed Afrikaner conclave really, has been operating since the early 90s. For more on this, we are joined by the EFF Northern Cape Chairperson Shadrack, Tlhaole, and the Deputy Chair of the Orania Representative Council, Karel Boshop. Karel, thank you so much for making time for us. Thanks to you, Shadrack, as well. Good evening.
Okay.
I'll start with you, Shadrack. Why do you need the Premier to review the existence of Orania? All right, seems to be an issue there with the line to Shadrack. Let's try you, Karel. Are you able to hear us now, Karel? All right, we seem to be struggling there with that line. Tell you what, we are going to take a quick ad break to try and re-establish those lines, but you can keep your messages coming through. Remember, the question we've been asking you tonight on Face the Nation is about this incident that's happened with the Deputy President. So we'll be reading your tweets, your WhatsApp voice notes as well on how you're responding to what you've heard so far. The ANC, from the Treasurer General of the ANC, but also the Northern Cape ANC chairperson, whom we'll be speaking to later on. Some of them seem to be pouring cold water at the claim. So what do you make of how this entire issue has transpired? So that's a question we've been asking you tonight. Do we have Karel back? Okay, let's take a quick ad break. When we come back, we'll try and re-establish that line with both the EFF and a representative from Orania. Welcome back. Now, the ANC Treasurer General, Dr. Gwen Ramokgopa, has poured cold water on reports that an attempted assassination of Deputy President Paul Mashatile is linked to the party's 2027 National Conference. Reports have emerged over the weekend that the Deputy President's vehicle was shot at a number of times on the windscreen. Addressing the media on the sidelines of the ANC's Northern Cape Provincial Conference, Ramokgopa called on law enforcement agencies to investigate these serious allegations. For an update on this, we're joined by the Deputy President's spokesperson, Keith Khoza, who's joining us now via Zoom. Keith, thank you for making time for us. Good evening.
Good evening.
When did this incident happen with the Deputy President, and what really transpired?
Well, it was 3 weeks ago when the NEC had its meeting in Boksburg. After the NEC, the Deputy President was on his way home. While driving along N12, the car was hit by something that they could not tell at the time what it was. They proceeded to his residence, and upon arrival, they inspected the car and realized that whatever hit the car was something powerful. So they then decided that the matter requires to be investigated to establish the facts They came back and confirmed that the car was hit by a handgun.
So the security team of the deputy president wasn't aware that there were shots being fired on the vehicle that was transporting the deputy president at the time that it happened?
Well, I'm not sure. That would form part of their own investigation and circumstances when they inspect the circumstances under which the car came under attack. But in terms of their practice, I think they've got certain procedures that when in transit, there are certain measures they would take even if they are under attack to guarantee the safety of the principal.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking that, Keith, is that the deputy president said over the weekend that he thought it was rocks. And I just thought the protectors should have at least been able to hear the gunshots, the protectors in the vehicle or those that were driving ahead or behind him. So they also weren't able to tell that someone was shooting at the vehicle at that time of the incident. They only were able to establish that when they arrived.
Well, Clement, I'm not sure if they couldn't tell or they could. They never spoke about that because for them it's an operational matter. And if they're going to deal with it, they will certainly deal with it in a place that is designed to deal with that. As to what were their observations when this thing happened, what noise did they hear and so on. But at the time, that element of discussion did not come up.
Okay, so what do we know now? Because so the deputy president said this weekend that when they arrived at home, the protectors said that the impact is too much for it to be rocks, and that's when they decided to go check it out and investigate. When did they confirm that it's actually bullets that they're seeing on that car and not rocks, like it was initially suspected?
Well, I think it took them quite a number of days to investigate that and confirm. But remember, the investigation is ongoing. They just investigated an aspect of what they wanted to confirm at the time, which will allow them to continue with further investigation.
This incident really sounds like a serious security risk for the deputy president, Keith. Is there a reason why this is only being communicated now, over 2 weeks after the incident took place?
It was communicated as soon as information was available that confirmed our worst fears that it was actually a hit in the car that affected the car.
But the incident happened on the 30th of March. So if after a couple of days, the VIP protection was able to establish that it's the gunshot.
Not a couple of days, I said a number of days.
Oh, okay. How many days did it take for them?
I don't remember whether it took about 2 weeks for them to come with a report or what. But it took a bit for us to know that those facts.
So when we asked the police to come and speak to us on the show, they said they can't confirm that shots were fired on the vehicle or confirm even anything at all, except to say that we must talk to you as the deputy president's office. And I thought VIP protectors, who confirmed that these are bullets on the vehicle, are members of the SAPS. So it was quite strange then to hear the SAPS says, we can't confirm anything, talk to the DP's office. Isn't this now a policing matter?
It is a matter of the police. That's why you don't want to get into details about their investigation.
But we were not asking for details, remember? We just wanted to know.
I'm not responding to you directly. I'm just saying in terms of the investigation in its totality, the police are handling it and all aspects of the investigation. The only thing that we were dealing with was to confirm that, yes, such an incident did happen.
But what's strange then is that the police are not even saying that. They're not even saying we are dealing with the matter. They're saying that go speak to the DP's office. Because I even asked, if you can come on air, at least answer this question. Can you confirm that it was bullets on the vehicle that was transporting the deputy president? They can't confirm that. They're saying go speak to the DP's office, which is strange because I agree with you. This is now a policing matter. All we needed from the police is to say, we're aware of this, we're investigating. But they can't even confirm to us that they are investigating the matter. So Who is investigating now and what's being investigated?
Clement, there's a statement that was released this evening by Office Yaga General or Commissioner of the Police that confirms this. There's a statement now.
And the spokesperson for the commissioner herself is now saying, we can't say anything about it now. You have to talk.
I'm saying now.
Right now.
Just a while ago, they released a statement, yes.
Okay, what are they saying? Are you able to share with our viewers what the police are saying? Because
No, I just saw that as I was preparing to do this interview, so I didn't read it fully, but it confirms.
it confirms what happened. Okay, we'll get the producers to get a hold of that statement, and hopefully I can read it. Okay, I'm told that they've just sent it on the group, so I'll read it as we conclude our interview. Let me just ask this: what is your response as the Deputy President's office to people who are now suggesting all sorts of things and are choosing not to believe this incident? And I'm asking that because, as I said, the police have also been acting strange until now that we've seen this statement, and I'll read it to the viewers what it actually says. But then you also now have the Treasurer General of the ANC saying some of these things can be fake, there must be investigations. The Northern Cape ANC chairperson has had something to say about this, saying who would want to assassinate the Deputy President. What's your response to how some, even within the ANC and just generally members of the public, have reacted to this?
Well, let me not be drawn to the specifics of the Treasurer General and any other official of the ANC. I think what is important at the moment is that it is a fact. The statement of the Commissioner, of the National Commissioner, will confirm that it is a fact. And it is unfortunate that in the public, they think such lies can be manufactured. You see, normally when people come with fake news or untruths, they do it. Thrown in the social media with no source or anything, with fake names and so on. We came out openly, officially to talk about this matter because we can't lie to the public. It is unthinkable that we should lie to the public.
Yeah. Do you believe that this was an assassination attempt or maybe an attempted hijacking, criminals taking their chances? What do you think is at play as the office?
That's why I'm saying we're refusing to speculate on the matter until we're certain that whatever happened is understood on the basis of its own merit.
Yeah.
At the moment, we don't have facts and we can't speculate.
Okay, so, and you have not, defined it as even an assassination attempt as yet until the investigations are concluded. That's not what you believe at this stage?
At this stage, we know that the car was attacked and the matter is under investigation.
Okay. Keith Khoza, let me thank you. Thank you so much for making time for us. I really appreciate it here on Face the Nation. I'm going to read the statement from the police. So strange. It came out now at 8:30, and this is after we've been really chasing the police to try and confirm what really transpired, and they seemed to be running away from this situation. Now, the statement from the police says that the National Commissioner of the South African Police, General Fani Masemola, takes this opportunity to assure the nation that the executive of the country, including the President and the Deputy President, are in safe hands. Members of the Presidential Protection Service who are assigned to both the President and the Deputy President are trained to a high level of skill and possess the necessary expertise and capabilities to avert and prevent any of these threats. The General Masemola confirms, and this is the important part, General Fani Masemola confirms a shooting incident involving the Deputy President's convoy. Following the incident, an extensive investigation was conducted and still underway, with the ballistics report already concluded. Crime intelligence is also continuing with its regular risk and threat assessment on both the President and the Deputy President. General Fani Masemola confirms the reinforcement of security detailed to both principals and has also expressed gratitude with the manner in which members of the Presidential Protection Service safeguard and handle the security of both principals. That statement ends with this: the incident remains under investigation with a high-level team assigned to investigate this case. So that's a statement that's been released by the police commissioner, Fani Masemola. Now, we will be reading some of your tweets and WhatsApp responding to how the ANC has also responded to this kind of incident. As I said earlier, it seems like it's now been politicized. And what do you make of what the spokesperson for the Deputy President, Khoza, also had to say? Let's move to the story now. The EFF in the Northern Cape says it will be considering, among others, court action if there's no response to their memorandum of their demands. The party handed a memorandum calling for the abolishment of Orania, calling it a state within a state. Let's now bring in the EFF Northern Cape chairperson, Shadrack Tlhaole, now who joins us on the line. Shadrack, thank you so much for making time for us. Good evening. Shadrack, are you able to hear us? Good evening.
Good evening, my brother, and evening to your viewers. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Why do you need the Premier of the Northern Cape to review the existence of Orania?
Thank you very much. The reason why we need a Premier of the Northern Cape to review Orania, it is because of it affects us, the people of the Northern Cape. We are the residents of this province, and we can witness that indeed there are racial segregation that are happening in the province. So for someone who is not in the Northern Cape would not see and agree with us. But what we are doing it because of we have felt and we are feeling this oppression created by white people and exclusion into economic activities, pretending that if black people would reside within Orania, they will harm the culture and the language of the Afrikaner-speaking people. That is not true. And we think that the Premier is relevant for simple reasons that we have stated in our memorandum to say Orania must be inclusive of everyone who lives in the Northern Cape and in South Africa. In order to build a good governance, they need to be part of this. So the Premier is involved because of we cannot take our memorandum to the President of this country, leaving the Premier of the Northern Cape not engaged on the matter.
Yeah, and when you say that as residents of the Northern Cape, you are being affected by that existence of Orania, how does it affect you?
It affects us because of Orania on its own. It's a land that was taken from our forefathers. It's a land that was bought before 1994 because of white Afrikaners. They realized that democracy will be the order of the day. And they plotted and planned that they don't want to be part of South Africa and pretended to appreciate introduction of democracy in this country, which was very pretentious. What we wanted to do and what we are saying as the leadership of the EFF in the province is that there are economic activities in Orania, and our people will want to participate in that business opportunities that might arise in the area. That is a farming community. The people of the Northern Cape want to access that land without any segregation that has been persuaded by the white communities of Orania.
Mm-hmm. So their argument is that, well, this is their community. They respect the law. They pay their taxes. You know, they're saying, why can't you build your own communities?
Why should we build our own community when we are in our community? Orania is part of the Northern Cape. Orania is part of South Africa. We are a one rainbow nation, and we should at no stage promote what people of Orania are doing because of in its form they are promoting racial tension in this country. Racial tension in a sense that a black person is not allowed access into that area of Orania. And also the fact that even if we would want to do an oversight in Orania, people would need to call and make prior arrangement. The prior arrangement seeks to suggest that there are programs and plans that are hidden to the people of the Northern Cape at large.
What was the Premier's position here, Shadrack? Because I remember after elections, when the Freedom Front Plus was joining the GNU, the president of the Freedom Front Plus told me on this show that the ANC in the Northern Cape had actually agreed to recognize Orania, or to at least give consideration to that. And that was their condition to support the Premier's election as Premier in the Northern Cape legislature. As the EFF in the Northern Cape, what do you understand to be that working relationship between the Freedom Front Plus and the ANC, and even at a government or level, especially in as far as Orania is concerned?
The ANC is not in majority in the Northern Cape. So everything that they do, at least we must be taken into consideration that we form part of the Northern Cape provincial legislature. So arrangement, if they were made at the expense of the people of the Northern Cape, that this province will not touch Orania, it is not true. We have never even got that report, even from the office of the Premier, as a member of the legislature and a party leader of the EFF. And therefore, that is not true. And even if it was true, we are not going to agree on that. We are not interested in the arrangement of leadership that the Freedom Front Plus will work with the ANC. It is their baby, and they must see to it without compromising the unity of South Africans. And I can tell you now, what we have done as the EFF, we have raised a motion without notice in the legislature, in which even Freedom Front Plus and the ANC supported this motion within the House sitting. So we were surprised that after we got calls from not from different political parties, but the Freedom Front Plus, to say that they have seen that we have raised a concern, which we did not. We did not act arrogantly on it, and invited and accepted the invitation to say, let's sit down and talk about this matter. And in our discussion, we never spoke about the Northern Cape provincial legislature, but we spoke on how and what is the plan to unite South Africans, which the people and the leadership of Orania, led by Boshoff himself, they said and appreciated that indeed this is a good gesture from the EFF, that there must be negotiations. We must start to sit and talk on this matter of Orania, because of, if not well attended to, it might cause a problem. It is their way. That's what they have said, and we echoed the same sentiment that this is a good beginning. So why are we raising this issue now? It is because of the younger generation in this country. At some point, they will have to celebrate and appreciate the work done by our forefathers, the leaders of this country who fought for the liberation of South Africa.
Right,
so we need black and white people to work together. Yeah,
Shadrack Tlhaole, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for bringing us your views. He's the EFF Northern Cape chairperson. Let's bring in the Premier of the Northern Cape, who's also the ANC chair in that province, Zamani Saul, who's joining us now via Zoom. Premier, thank you so much for making time for us. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you very much, Clement, for having me here.
Yeah, we'll get to the issues around Orania and the EFF's march in a moment. I want to just get your reflections on what you said earlier today. There's a conference currently underway of the ANC in the Northern Cape, and you were talking about this alleged attempted assassination on the deputy president, and you were saying, why would anyone try to assassinate a deputy president of a 40% party? What did you mean by that? Because the police have just released a statement confirming that there was a shooting involving the deputy president.
No, I'm not disputing the fact that there was a shooting. But what I'm saying is that we should not indulge in speculations about what could have been the cause of the shooting. But there's a narrative that is making rounds that the shooting is as a result of internal strife and battles in the African National Congress towards the 2027 National Conference. What I was basically saying there is that we should not entertain that speculation, because in the past, we used to be a very strong ANC with 70% electoral support, and there's never been attempts of eliminating of deputy presidents. So why should we be sitting with such a thing now? And I was actually raising the issue that I don't believe it could be a matter that is related to possible leadership contestations towards the 2027 National Conference.
Yeah.
But I was not disputing the fact that there was a shooting.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you.
But the speculation is my problem.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. Let's move over to this issue we've just discussed with the EFF in the Northern Cape. I mean, one of the things they were demanding, or at least raising as they were marching to your office earlier today, was that they want you to review the existence of Orania, the existence of Orania there in the Northern Cape. Is it even possible to do that? How would that happen?
The issue of Orania is quite a contrived matter, but I'm quite happy for the responsible manner in which the leadership of the EFF is approaching the matter. There was engagements between the leadership of Orania and as well as the leadership of the economic freedom fighters in the province, just to try and clarify each other on the actual status of the existence of Orania. Orania is a farm, it's not a town. And every time, even when you listen to people speaking about Orania in the news and how journalists report on it, they report as if they report on a town. It's a farm, a private farm. They don't have any declaration from provincial government or local municipality of a town establishment. So if they want to become a town, they must make an application through the necessary processes. And obviously, if they want to become a town and make such an application, they will have to abide by the laws of this country and the requirements of what a town settlement should be.
Yeah.
If you've got a town settlement, you can't exclude other people. But if you've got a private farm, it's like my private home. I can decide who gets into my yard and who does not get into my yard. So that's basically the history and what is currently finding expression in Orania.
There was a time, I remember after the elections, when I interviewed the president of the Freedom Front Plus, and he said there are discussions that are underway. In fact, he claimed on this show that you have agreed as the ANC to formally recognize that enclave, Orania, as an Afrikaner town, and that was their condition to join the GNU. Whatever happened to that? Because I think when I spoke to you subsequently, you had indicated there was a proposal, I think, that they were going to send to you guys, and you were going to consider that and go back to them. Was that proposal ever sent?
No, we had engagements with leadership of the Freedom Front Plus, and there were two pieces of agreements. One was on the cooperation between the ANC and Freedom Front Plus with regard to the provincial legislature. The fact that they wanted the chairpersonship of the portfolio committee of Khoza, and quite a whole lot of issues which were raised on cooperation in terms of coming up with an initiative to grow the economy of the province. So that one, there were no problems with it because it was a purely political relationship that we were establishing with the Freedom Front in order to advance the best interest of the Northern Cape. And then there's a second agreement which centers around the status of Orania. That agreement that centers around the status of Orania, we told them that it is very much difficult for us to commit on this because it's got national implications. We don't want to see replicas of Orania all over South Africa. We said it's a matter that we are going to forward to the national leadership. We forwarded it to the national leadership. The national leadership provided Freedom Front Plus with written responses on some of the difficulties they have to have the ANC, either the province or national, signing on that. So there's no signed agreement between us and Freedom Front Plus, but what we had is intense discussions on quite a number of issues, cooperation in the legislature, and the issue of the status of Orania. But you see, Clement, when we speak of the status of Orania, we tend to speak as if it's something that started yesterday. I don't know whether you had an opportunity to read the judgment of the Northern Cape High Court in 2002 on the status of Orania. Because there was a case between Thabo Mbeki and the Transitional Council of Orania, which started around late 1990s, and I think the court judgment was 2000 or 2001. And there, the Northern Cape High Court said, the issue of the status of Orania is something that has to be resolved politically. It's not something that a court should sit and resolve. because the community, they're on basis of their right to self-determination. They say they need a separate settlement where they can nurture, grow, and develop their culture as an Afrikaner community. So the High Court here in the province then said, no, this is not a matter that belongs to the court. You guys go and sort out this issue between the national government, who was an appellant, and the community of Orania. After Sidney Mufamadi became the Minister of Local Government, he established different task teams. I think it was about 6 or 7 task teams. I say you've got Boshoff, it's Karl. He can give you a history. Myself and him, we were serving in the same task team around 2001, 2002, 2003, when I was the municipal manager of the district. Sidney then, as the minister, established a committee that should look into the status of Orania. And that committee had different work streams. I was in 2 of those work streams. I used to fly with Karel Boshoff to Pretoria, to the head office of the Minister for Local Government, to go and do the work of the committees. We as committees and the work streams, we finished our work. And a report was then drafted, final report, which was going to be tabled to the National Cabinet. I don't know where that process ended, and I'm very happy that the EFF brought the memorandum to my office, and I think this actually gives us an opportunity to ask, where is the memorandum of the committee which was established by the minister to look into the status of Orania, and the reports on the different work streams that were established?
But why is that difficult to find,
Yes.
the Premier? I mean, that should be easy.
Yes, definitely. That's what we'll have to look for. And I firmly believe the work which was done by those work streams, which involved the community of Orania, which involves the district municipality, which involved provincial government, and as well as national government. The work stream I was in was actually chaired by the former DG of the Department of Local Government. We used to meet each and every month.
Yeah, but did it have to take... Did it have to take the EFF too much, though, for you guys to remember that?
No, it did not really have to take that, but I'm saying this offers us now an opportunity that we should start to seriously look into the matter.
Isn't there going to be a challenge, though, in that, as you said, that's a private farm. So whatever work that you do, I mean, it's not like you can force people off the land. I mean, there's things they do there. Somehow they still have statues that celebrate the apartheid leaders. They still have, I think, the apartheid flag, if I'm not mistaken. But the point is, if it's a private farm, then you are quite limited. I mean, since you were in that committee, what options did you look at that you think would be viable without violating their rights?
Yeah, no, there were different options that we looked into. I just can't remember clearly now. It's almost more than 20 years back. But then we used to have what we call as the district management area, which is called the DMA. And then one of the recommendations was to take Orania out of Siatemba municipality, Tembelihle municipality, in order for it to be a DMA area directly managed by the district municipality. So there was other option that it should be integrated with Vanderkloof in order for them to be a municipality on their own. But I think there were about 4 or 5 options which were presented. We'll have to go back. Let me tell you, with the intense work that we did with those different work streams, and as well as the committee which the minister appointed, the issue of Orania should have long been resolved now. And I think we'll have to take responsibility for the fact that this is still a lingering matter which has not been properly resolved, because the issue of the status of Orania also causes anxiety for the community of Orania, because their status are still not finalized.
All right, let's hope that, and thanks to the EFF, really, for bringing that matter to light and in the way that they've done today, because then maybe it's going to push us to go back to those reports that were worked on. Premier, thank you so much for making time for us. I know that you are busy with the conference there in the Northern Cape, so I really appreciate your time.
No, thank you very much, Clement. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks to you for watching the Tuesday edition of Face the Nation. We'll be back with you on Thursday at 8 p.m. Have a good evening. Cheers.